Hello there gamers, this is Snotchcouse here with his first video game review on YouTube. My first review is of Delphine Software's cult classic, the cinematic platformer Another World, or as you may have called it in America, Out of This World, or from Japan, Outer World. Now, it was released back in 1991 for the Amiga 500 before being ported to the 3DO, various PCs, Atari ST, Sega Mega Drive, Sega CD, and the Super Nintendo. Now, what this game is about is you play as an amazing athletic physicist by the name of Lester, who one night decides to further his particle acceleration project. Now, on the night he does this experiment, a storm happens and causes his experiment to go horribly wrong, and he gets transported to another world, hence you get the title for the game. Now, this world seemed to be completely abandoned of intelligent life until at the end of the first part of the game you're enslaved by the locals and find yourself in some sort of prison and slave labour camp. From this point on, it is your mission to escape captivity along with an alien companion who assists you at various points throughout the game. To achieve your goals in Otherworld, you have to do the basics of a platforming game. These are running and jumping. Now, a little bit further into the game, you pick up a gun which serves as your item of attack and defense. It can shoot regular laser blasts, which is for killing your enemies. It can form a shield, which is for protecting you from your enemies. Or you can charge up a shot, which can break shields and break walls and doors. At various points of the game, your gun will serve as a key to a puzzle. For example, there is a part where you have to use a charged shot to flood an underground cave. There are some points in the game that require you to do something different from platforming, such as when you have to roll through some ventilation shafts while avoiding steam and swimming away from a giant tentacled monster. Not at the same time, of course, because that would just be silly. As with most games, the D-pad will control your character. Up at lifts will make him go up, down at lifts will make him go down. Left and right will move him left and right. As you can see, it is very simple. Depending on what platform you're playing on this, you could either have one or two additional buttons. Let's say you have two for the moment. You'll have a jump button, which will oddly enough make him jump, and an action button, which will do everything else, from shooting to picking up items. If you only have one extra button, then the jump button is moved into the action button, thus giving you the action jump button. Now we've passed the most simple aspect of the game, let's move on to something a little bit more advanced, the graphics. Now, the character models, although not pretty to look at, move amazingly fluid, especially for a game that was made in 1991. I think it is worth noting that the backgrounds that were hand-drawn, despite being barren, gave the game its unique feel. The clip scenes that you see in the game were untouchable at the time. I don't think there was another game that could have produced such quality cinematic entertainment on a home console or your PC. The only downside I can say about the graphical design is once you start fighting aliens, there isn't much variation between who you're fighting. I think, if I remember right, it only varies between regular ones and ones with helmets. Another World was designed by, forgive me if I get this wrong, Eric Chahi, after seeing Dragon's Lair run amazingly well on an Amiga 500 back in 1989. Chahi decided to make an action game with exactly the same technology in mind on his Amiga 500. In an attempt to create the best graphics ever, Another World's visuals were created entirely using polygons. It took its lead from another Amiga game called Impossible Mission. Although he knew what he wanted, Chahi improvised for most of the game. It took him 4 months alone to create the opening sequence, and after 2 years of hard work, Another World was ready for release. Another World, before being released, came under heavy criticism for being too short. Therefore, the PC versions had extra content added, while the console versions were made to be more difficult. The Super Nintendo version came under heavy editing to fall in with Nintendo's family guidelines. Anything that looked like blood or any nudity had to be edited out. 1994's Heart of the Alien is the only true sequel to Another World. It was released for the Sega CD. Most people say that this game is equally as good as Another World. However, since it was a Sega CD exclusive, it did not sell well and has generally gone unplayed. Another World's creator, Eric Chahi, has disdain for this game because it destroys the ambiguous ending left at the end of Another World. Games that have used Another World for a template have been the 1992 Delphine software game Flashback, 1997's One Escapee, and 1998's Amazing Studios' Heart of Darkness, the latter created by Another World's creator, Eric Chahi. Moby Games have rated Another World as the best DOS game ever released. In recent times, Chahi bought the intellectual rights to the game, preventing it becoming abandonware. In 2005, a collector's edition was released, including all the extra features seen in the different versions of the game. One of the bad points about this game is that it is unbelievably hard. You get shot once and you die. Due to this, you end up playing a certain part of the game over and over again until completed. In the console versions this is even worse. Since it has been made harder, more enemies and traps flood the screen, which means you repeat it over and over and over and over, even more so. Another World's controls aren't too elegant, and it can take Lester a while to respond to what you're telling him to do. This leads to you dying a whole lot more than what you may want. As mentioned earlier, most of the aliens look the same. This even includes your alien companion and the evil aliens. Therefore, you could end up shooting at your alien companion. Although it does not do him any damage, it can leave you open to attack from the evil aliens. Guess what? You die some more. For those of you who do not die on a regular occasion, Another World can be completed in less than half an hour. This can give you an unsatisfactory feeling once the game is completed. Despite Lester's non-responsive start to the controls given to him, once he is moving, the moves can flow together very well, leading to some very nice set pieces throughout the game. Background detail is amazing in this game and can vary from something as little as falling rocks to a giant laser battle. You have to see it to believe it. As mentioned earlier, the cutscenes in this game are amazing. Even if you cannot progress in this game, it is worth just buying the game for the opening cutscene. Lastly, there are many checkpoints in this game. It makes a hard game less frustrating. If they weren't there, I'd take a good bet that the game would be uncompletable. Overall, I would say Another World is not a masterpiece, but it is definitely a landmark in gaming history. I give Another World 8 out of 10. This brings us to the end of the review. If you want to play Another World, you can buy it from the official Another World website and get the collector's edition. I hope you have found this review useful in some way. If you want to contact me to request a review or ask me a question, please use the email on screen now. The next time I will be back, I will be reviewing Galaga 90 that originally appeared on TurboGrafx 16. Good night.
Lou, 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 I've got some apples. Lou, 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 you've got some too. Lou, 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 let's get together. I know what we can do, Lou.